I've watched the first two already. I just want to air a few thoughts that I've had. So nothing too in depth, but just some initial thoughts. So I started thinking about Joffrey because I was aware that I had called Joffrey a little prick several times. And I guess that was just purely based on the observable behaviour. But we've got to understand that Joffrey is a product of nature and nurture. I felt it was a bit unfair just to call him a little prick. Nevertheless, some words that initially came up to me about him were arrogant, entitled, cruel, questioning his empathy skills. We look at that situation with Arya, Butcher's boy, he was trying to display dominance. There was violence and aggression there. Then he lied afterwards to protect himself. There didn't seem to be any remorse or reflection at all, even when he was challenged on the events of what happened. And I was thinking about why this might be. So I was thinking about the predisposing factors. So we've got Robert and Cersei, I think it is. I mean, there's no real evidence of warmth or care beyond status and power. There's no, I don't know how to explain it. There's none of that safe, seen, soothed. I guess there's an aspect of safety, but there's none of that seen or soothed kind of behaviors that I'm really seeing. Robert seems to be seems to like his drink. He's got a lot of responsibility, obviously being king, so he's probably quite distant from Joffrey. And again, he's a man with power, and that's what Joffrey will see. Again, with Cersei, she seems to have a motivation for power. There seems to be this aspect of her that I'm picking up on of controlling others, being quite manipulative. And Joffrey's got this status, hasn't he? He's treated as superior. He seems to be rarely challenged. And I think this in combination can probably lead to some of these quite narcissistic traits that I think we're beginning to see and are probably likely to continue seeing. In terms of precipitating for him, he's in Winterfell now, so I'm guessing that's outside of his usual context, outside of his usual power base. So he's encountering people that he wouldn't normally encounter, and he is being treated somewhat differently to how he's used to. He was humiliated by Arya, especially in front of Sansa, and because he's outside of his usual power base, his response is now to retaliate to what happened to him, and try and reassert his dominance, reassert his control. And then we've got these perpetuating factors, these factors that keep these type of behaviours maintained. His mother defends him when he behaves in those ways, when he behaves cruelly, and that potentially reinforces this "I can get away with anything" type attitude. Where are we with parental modelling? Is power the goal? Is he learning that power, attain power by any means, and manipulate, lie, assert dominance?